Welcome to the Food Bar Digital Lounge, where we use alcohol, tobacco, and friendly gestures to keep our sanity strapped together in these very insane times. And well, it is the summer of 2024, and that means very insane times are ahead here in the United States of America. But we're not a political channel. We are a pop culture channel. And what better way to kick off this summer of must-see movies? Totally. This is one of the most hyped summers ever. It's not like it's been completely thrown to shambles by a writers or actor strike that nobody really supported the writers or actors on. We're going to talk about some of the movies that have myself and my co-hosts here on the channel's interest. So they've sent in over, they're on finishing up with school or on vacation right now. They've sent in to me what they're interested to see in cinemas this summer. But I've also sprinkled in a few things that you don't have to see in cinemas this summer. Some stuff that you can use the interwebs to see, hopefully coming out sometime this summer. We'll talk about those spicy bonuses later on. But we're gonna try to keep in chronological order when we're dealing with the cinematic releases. And I am filming on May 22nd, which means probably by the time I have this edited, the first movie we're going to talk about should have released in cinemas, and that is going to be Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. So, about 9 years ago, the world was quite surprised when George Miller released a sequel to his Mad Max trilogy. The fourth Mad Max film was in developmental hell for 3 decades, had changed lead actors from Mel Gibson over to Tom Hardy, and by the time it had reached the 21st century, there were a lot of doubts if Mad Max could survive in the cinematic world that the millennials ruled. Well, turns out, yes, he can hold his ground. Fury Road, depending on who you ask, may be one of, if not the best Mad Max film. Personally, for me, my favorite Mad Max film is Beyond Thunderdome. Roast me in the comment section below, but I do still very much enjoy Fury Road. There have been talks about Furiosa's prequel coming out ever since the Fury Road released, and that too fell into developmental hell. But thankfully, it was only a third of the developmental hell that Fury Road was. So without further ado, we got the trailer. This was released this Friday at the time of recording. Let's take a look. Oh, doing the same pose as in Fury Road. Fake reaction. Woo! 43 after the collapse. Sure. Are we keeping with that timeline? Or is this between the apocalypse or, it's just one apocalypse? We figured that out, Miller. We figured that out. All right. So that is the trailer for Furiosa. Just finished that up. A couple things I did notice. Looks like we're going to get more involved with Gastown, which Gastown is where the convoys go into in Furio before Furiosa veers off course into the desert for the rest of the movie. And we also get to explore Gastown in the Mad Max PS3 video game. Do you remember that video game? That was a long time ago. It was actually a pretty fun game. Not a lot of people gave it a chance. I'm not going to say it was anything groundbreaking, but hell, it was a Mad Max game, and we got to go out in all sorts of cool cars and wreck shit. I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. So there was a Thunderdome sequence after you completed a race in Gastown. And I may actually bring up, it sounds like Chris Hemsworth's character at the start is introducing some ridiculous race to the death, as a sandstorm blows in. Maybe it's something similar to the races we've seen in Gastown in the video game. We've changed the casting up from Charlize Theron to Anya Taylor-Joy because this is going to be a younger Furiosa. That's obvious. I really got nothing more to say. What I will comment is when Fury Road came out about 10 years ago, what we were willing to accept was very different. And now, as a moviegoer audience, I think the movie-going crowd 10 years ago was far more open-minded. Nowadays, we are highly jaded. And I am speaking for myself after the endless shoving of the message. When we're getting into action films with a female lead, there tends to be the paranoia that it's going to be pushing
Message.
rather than trying to tell an actual engaging story. And I do have that great worry with Mad Max Fury Road. I mean, Furiosa Mad Max Saga. Oh, that's Fury all over the place. You can't blame me for confusing. Maybe I want to be getting tongue tied if I did say we use alcohol, tobaccos, and friendly gestures to, keep our sanity here. So doing my part to keep our sanity. So Furiosa Mad Max Saga is coming out. I don't know why we're calling it a Mad Max Saga. There is no Mad Max in sight per the trailer. I am cautiously optimistic. We had doubts about Fury Road. It took 30 years to get that out, and it blew everybody's minds with its action. I'm having the similar feeling of this. I'm like, well, I have my worries. It's been a while since we've done this, but George Miller has yet to prove us wrong. Next up, we have a movie that was supposed to come out last year, and we're still waiting on it. We're moving into June, and we're going to talk about The Bike Riders. And we have Tom Hardy trying yet another crazy accent. It's like he's lapsing back into portraying just it's like he's lapsing back into portraying Scarface. What would happen if Al Capone had motorcycles? Oh, I was joking when I said this is what happens if Al Capone has a motorcycle. That's what this literally is. All right, that's The Bike Riders starring Tom Hardy and Austin Butler. I'm gonna be pretty straightforward. I'm not much of a motorcycle enthusiast. I'm one of those guys that complains whenever we have the whole fleet of motorcycles flying up the road, right out of the window, behind the camera that you can't see. So it looks really awkward how I'm pointing right now. So yeah, not necessarily a fan of motorcycles in today's time, but hey, if it's a classic motorcycle and it's on the big screen, yeah, I want to hear it roar. I want to go see it flying down the pavement in Chicago. It's going to be a load of fun. So The Bike Riders is going to be a fictionalized account of the rise and I guess you want to say corruption of the Outlaws MC, a motorcycle club that is founded in the Chicago area originally in the 1930s. The movie's actually set in the mid 1960s, and it's loosely inspired by an actual photo book that was produced by Danny Lyon that documented the real world outlaw MCs. And I was just doing what great historians do for research, scrolling through Wikipedia. For the record, Spencer does not condone the use of Wikipedia as a reliable source for historical information. While this was being made, the original book, the photo book, Mr. Lyon was contacted by Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing Hunter S. Thompson, who was also doing a similar book on the Hells Angels. And you can just imagine Mr. Thompson going, "Hey, Lon, you shouldn't do this. Don't get out of these bikers clubs. These are bad guys, dude. Get out of there." And I'm Hunter S. Thompson, and this is some weird ass shit for me. Get out. So yeah, that must have been an interesting production of that photo book, and it's clearly inspired an interesting movie. Tom Hardy's one of the few people that are close to being called a movie star in 2024. We don't really have that anymore. Yeah, so Tom Hardy's in it. I'm excited. Anything with Tom Hardy usually is one of the few ways you can get my interest of, okay, I may buy a ticket to go see a movie. You got cool motorcycles in the 1960s, cool Harleys, cool Indians. All right. I'm also willing to watch that. It's set in Chicago. It's a period piece in Chicago. Okay, you're going to be really interested because I more than am always up to watch a period piece about Chicago. I am not up to going into Chicago in 2024. I want to watch the horrors of Chicago on screen. I don't want to live the horrors of Chicago. So yeah, The Bike Riders, looking forward to this. Should be coming out at the end of June of this year. If it comes to a local theater, I'll consider buying a ticket. All right, next up, at the very end of June, we have the most ambitious project coming to theaters this year, and that is going to be a multi-part movie series directed by Kevin Costner, director and lead actor of Dance with Wolves and the star of the hit television show Yellowstone. So he is trying to resurrect the Western epic, which is something we really haven't truly seen, I would argue, since the 1970s. So is this effort to resurrect the classic Western going to succeed? or is it going to crash and burn like Heaven's Gate? Let's find out. I've seen this trailer, and of course, it is an epic span, and I think at least 15 years. At least one the maybe the first movie is. So we're starting with the American Civil War. One thing's for certain: this movie is going to have some gorgeous landscape shots. All right, and that is the trailer for Horizon American Saga. There are going to be two chapters released in cinemas throughout this summer. The first is coming out at the very end of June. Second one will be out in August. And I presume if those two are financial successes, then we'll be getting at least one, if not two more chapters. I think this is supposed to be a 4 movie series that Costner is working on that he has personally bankrolled. He's been wanting to get this made for many years from the little bit I've been reading about. And I'm always up for a classic Western, especially a sweeping historical epic. It seems that Horizon and American Saga is going to kind of be in the vein similar of a miniseries known as Centennial that came out in the late 1970s. If you've not heard or have read of the book Centennial, it chronicles the rise of a Western American town, going all the way back to the 1700s when the fur trappers come out and interact with the native tribes of the region, and how that leads to the establishment of community there after the American Civil War up through the 20th century for the Second World War. So it seems like we're going to get something in a similar vein, although obviously this is going to be more focused on the 19th century. I swear I read somewhere either the first film or the first couple chapters, or maybe the whole series, is supposed to span 15 years. And the trailer for this first chapter has shown us we're getting a lot during, if not immediately after, the American Civil War, which is going to make me very excited, as I, of course, am a American Civil War history buff. So I'm always for anything tied to the American Civil War. And after all, the greatest American Civil War movie was also a Western, The Outlaw Josie Wales. So, it all ties in. It all ties in. I'm always down for anything Costner does. He can be sometimes a very dry director. Sometimes he can be a bit too on the nose. But overall, I'm usually satisfied by what he makes. I've already brought up Dance with Wolves. To a lesser extent, Wyatt Earp, which came out in 1994. Although, if I had to choose between Wyatt Earp and Tombstone, I'm choosing Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp over Kevin Costner. I've loved the Yellowstone series since it's come out. When did that start? 2018. Man, it's been a while now. I think 2018, because it started right after Waco. That's what I remember. The miniseries on Paramount. I've already mentioned in the trailer, the big thing we're getting from this are the sweeping landscape shots. There's something so visual about seeing everything on screen seems to be practical, seems to be there. It seems like they're building these sets, these Western sets, and all these action sequences are happening in camera, which always is a big plus for me. Always a big plus for me. So looking forward to Horizon and American Saga. Wow. I'm just gonna keep messing up tonight. And I got to abide by my own rule. We are an alcohol, tobacco, and friendly gestures use here. That's what we do. That's how we keep our sanity here. All right, you've heard about Christmas in July, but what about Halloween in July? Wow, that was lame. That was terrible. Sorry about that, guys. All right, we're moving into July now, and we got Long Legs coming out. This is going to be a horror film that I did not know about. This was recommended to me by one of our co-hosts for the podcast. So let's check out Long Legs. God, Nicolas Cage. No, Nicolas Cage traumatizing another person. That's what he does now. He just traumatizes all the millennials. So what is this? This is some Seven type stuff going on here? Jesus. Ma'am, you take your job way too seriously. You're hunting down Nicolas Cage. Does that FBI agent have Bill Clinton over his head? They all see him, Bill Clinton. That's who we should be scared of, not Nicolas Cage in the woods, Bill Clinton behind us. Say your prayers, little one, don't forget my son. Oh, we're not singing? Okay. Oh, run, the cage is near. He's going to get in a bear costume and punch somebody. All right, so that is Long Legs. Gonna be personally honest, not a movie I'm particularly interested in, but our co-hosts have been talking about it, and it does have the Nicolas Cage, the last great movie star. The unbearable weight of massive talent that is on that man's shoulders. He is single-handedly carrying the direct-to-video section at Wally World. Oh, we love you, Nicolas Cage. We love you and all of your weirdness. So, the little bit I can get from Long Legs, it looks like we're going to get some type of crime thriller in the vein of Seven. Looks like we got this serial killer going around and planting all of these clues, like he almost intentionally wants to be found out by the main lead here. I guess there is some prior connection between our main lead and Nicolas Cage. Oh, God, what can that connection be? Something else that's also interesting me from the trailer, I'm noticing the shift in aspect ratios. Looks a little bit like we're getting almost like 8 or 16 millimeter home video there for a moment, kind of in the vein of Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse. I loved the use of that aspect ratio in The Lighthouse to try to make it appear similar to a silent film. So I'm always for the experimenting with using old school film reels and film ratios. So looking forward to that. That'll be a unique trick that the film directors of Long Legs can pull out. I don't know much else about this. I'm going to be honest. I read some comments after I watched the trailer about people raving about the sound quality. No. Why? What is it with all these horror films nowadays? Their trailers are all the same. A bunch of quick shots to a bunch of seemingly unconnected images, and there's eventually somebody screaming, and it's always big, almost Hans Zimmer's boom happening, and it's like, geez, I need to hear. I don't work in a coal mine. I don't need to go deaf from horror films or something like this. Please stop. But that's Long Legs. Let's see how it goes. And next we have, let's see. Next we have Twisters. All right, let's get this movie up. Let's get the trailer rolling. Why would you, that dinky trailer, why would you connect it to like an SUV like that? I guess you can. There's no rule that you can. It has the pulling power, but it just looks really dinky. You don't fight a tornado with a little ass Toyota. Did you see nothing from the first movie? You need a freaking Dodge Ram, 1997 Dodge Ram. Wait, no, that'd be actually a 95 because the movie came out in 96. See, Glenn Powell knows what he's doing. He got the Dodge Ram. He knows he can fight the tornadoes now. Look at that. Ah, look at that clean energy. Doing so much wonders. Mother Nature just loving using that as an instrument of destruction to wipe us off the planet. Okay, we get it. We get it. We get it. It's yeah, we know the name of the movie. We know. Great. I'm glad you stole the iconography too. I'm glad you used the same font. Okay, yeah. I would have knew this was a movie about tornadoes unless you used the same title of the most famous tornado movie with the same font. Thanks. And that was the trailer for Twisters. You can tell I'm so enthusiastic that one of, if not my all-time favorite movie, is getting a sequel. Why is it getting a sequel? Because mainstream movie makers are out of ideas. If I could be genuinely kind to Twisters for a moment, I'm looking forward to Glenn Powell being in it. Seems like his character is going to be quite fun. Looks like he's going to be a bit of a jerk, but jerk with a heart of gold. So, looking forward to seeing him and all of his wild journeys that he can do in the land of Oklahoma against CGI tornadoes. And okay, fair enough. I know the original Twisters, CGI hasn't held up all too well over 25 years, but I love it. It's nostalgia. The only thing that keeps me going with Twisters is the nostalgia of Twister. The only reason I'm even putting this in this list is because by the law of Spencer's world, I have to show mild raising an eyebrow when somebody mentions they're using the Twister brand to make something else. That's the only reason I'm talking about this. There's nothing. Why are we doing this? You could have made any other tornado. You didn't have to call it Twisters. It's so stupid. Hey, I'm praying that maybe this is going to be the movie that surprises myself and everybody else and turns out to be somewhat fun. And that's all we ask. It's a movie about tornadoes and chasing tornadoes. Science is out the window, just like the original movie. The original movie is held together by Van Halen. Now, by the way, that was Van Halen fronted by Sammy Hagar. So it's leagues better. Fight me. So you gotta have some catchy song to tie this all together. You can't use humans being in this because most of the people nowadays don't even know what the hell humans being is, which is a shame because it's a great freaking song. So I just hope it's fun. I hope that it's just a good jaunt through Oklahoma being torn up like tornadoes, even if that'll just be rehashing the original freaking movie. Why are we rehashing it? The original movies. Look, I love the original movie, but it's dumb fun. It's dumb mindless fun. It's a summer blockbuster. That's so. If this is a summer blockbuster, mindless summer blockbuster, then this is good. Twisters are some freaking stupid idea. Okay, next. Well, speaking of last desperate grasps of Hollywood, next up. It's the movie that could very well be the farewell of MCU. At the very least, could possibly be a good farewell to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But me thinks it's gonna be mediocre. You know what it is. Hey, that was an accurate depiction of Southern California right now. Hey, look, they finally put him in the right costume. Only took them, what, nearly 25 years? Holy crap, yeah, it's been 24 years since X-Men came out. Huh. I'll let the nostalgia kick in briefly. Those two walking out to this song was pretty epic. It's what me and Connor are gonna look like walking through November this year in this country. And there they are, escaping the grasp of the evil mouse. So yeah, that was the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This was one. I'm not much of a Marvel Cinematic Universe fan. I follow the fall of the MCU pretty decently to hear what's going on and how the Phase 4 just was completely fine. It totally didn't backfire in any ways. We didn't have giant green women twerking at the audience and basically telling the audience, we don't need you. We got giant green women twerking at you. Go away, run away. Now, wait, why are you running away? No, come back. You're the only people that buy this stuff. Anyways. So yeah, not a big Marvel Cinematic Universe fan. I've watched the Avenger movies, I've followed them, but I really haven't been paying attention since Endgame. All I know about is what I've heard from the interwebs, and it's not good. I know my co-hosts are excited for this, and to its credit, it is Deadpool. We've been waiting a few years to get a Deadpool sequel, the third Deadpool. This would be the third one. This would technically make it a Deadpool trilogy, right? Yeah, I think it would be. If I'm wrong, editor me can tell me if I'm wrong. There was much doubt if Disney was going to allow for an R-rated superhero film to come out, and it has to be R-rated if it's Deadpool. And well, considering the sad, sorry, pissy state that the MCU is in right now, looking like that hellscape that we just saw briefly in the trailer, that totally does not look identical to Southern California right now at all. Yeah, this is going to either be... I think what's happened is Disney believes that this is going to be the redemption for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The problem is there is no amount of ass kissing they can do to the audience that they've pissed off for several years now, going over in a decade now. to try to win them back in their good graces. One movie is not going to do it. It is going to be a multi-year rebuild if you want to try to win a portion of that audience back, which I don't think they ever will. I think personally the age of Hollywood being the one area for entertainment in the United States of America, if not the world, has come to an end thanks to the platform you're watching me ramble on right now. And if you are watching me ramble on the TubeView, I appreciate that. Be sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe here to the Bar Digital Lounge so you can hear me rant like this more with the support of alcohol, tobacco, and friendly gestures. So yeah, no, I don't think this is going to save the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't think this is going to save Disney. But could it be a nice farewell, a send off to what we once loved, what everybody else once loved? Potentially. I I do have faith when Ryan Reynolds is attached to projects, especially Deadpool. He is hyperly protective of the Deadpool product, as we've all are very well to the horror, the abomination he endured to make sure Deadpool would get on screen in X-Men Origins Wolverine. So yeah, let's see what Deadpool and Wolverine are going to do to bring the MCU to a close. All right, that's going to finish it up for the mainstream movies and other pop culture. But we got a few more spicy additions, as I'm calling them, because there's a lot more going on. We have a lot of different people casting their card into the hat of entertainment, because now with the interwebs, the world is more closely connected, which means ideas can be transferred much more easily. And we got a hand-drawn animated feature coming from all places, Pakistan. It's called The Glass Maker. Let's take a look. Glass Worker, my apologies. The Glass Worker. Almost immediately could tell they're heavily inspired by Studio Ghibli. That's automatically a win. Getting really Howl's Moving Castle vibes with this pseudo-realistic, pseudo-fantasy world. But we got troops marching down, look like they got this, mid-20th century aesthetics. I'm kind of getting Howl's Moving Castle vibes. Uh, yep, we're getting some trench warfare. We're getting mid-20th century militaria. So I know Connors would watch this. All right, that's the Glass Worker coming to feeders in Pakistan, July 26, 2024. However, you can tell that was an English trailer, and there is an English cast attached to this, at least according to the totally accurate Wikipedia. So this is going to get I'm presuming it's getting a North American release sometime later in the year. I don't know if it'll be summer. I'm hoping it's the summer. Probably more likely be the fall, going toward Christmas time. Seems when animated films get released around that time. So I'm all for this. This is showing you the influence of Studio Ghibli, what that studio did, what Hayao Miyazaki and his team did for over several generations, really, of animators. They came to redefine the animation genre. So you can see one of the influences being here. Now, the little bit I've heard about the Glass Worker is this has been put together. This started out almost like as a Kickstarter over a decade ago. A small studio in Pakistan wanted to make hand-drawn animation, not the CGI smooth animation, hand-drawn, the way it's meant to be done. I gotta be fair. There's great CGI animated films, but hand-drawn I just love it to bits. And here in North America, sadly, have kind of dumped the idea of hand-drawn 2D animation. So this started out almost as a crowdfunding campaign to try to get the studio running so they could do this project. And for years, they've been updating their growing fan base about the progress that had been made, showing, dailies of how the project's going. And it's now seeing the light of day. The fruits of labor are now going to be displayed on the big screen. I'm looking forward to this. This comes to a theater near me. I'm buying a ticket. Anything Studio Ghibli, and especially because it seems to be influenced by Howl's Moving Castle. So, and that's one of my favorite Studio Ghibli films. I've always said Howl's Moving Castle is a beautiful mess. Not all the plot threads come into sync perfectly. There's some pacing issues, man, the visuals of that setting, the moving castle, but also the setting in the cities and getting this, as I mentioned, this pseudo World War aesthetic. Not that I support warfare, but I am a military historian, so I'm always going to be biased toward that. So looking forward to the Glass Worker. Hopefully it gets a proper theatrical release here in North America. And at the very least, it'll come out on home video so I can put it to my collection. Another project that's in development right now that doesn't really have a defined release date is Missouri Breaks, The Ballad of Missouri Bill. It's another Western, but where Kevin Costner is trying to return to the Western epic with his project. This movie is going to be essentially is going to be a music piece. It is going to be a story inspired by an album that's out right now called, well, Missouri Breaks. You can listen to it right now. It's kind of like country rock, which I know could be a very scary term, especially in 2024, since rock seems to have completely lost. Rock and country have seen the both lost what it had once defined them. Everything just one blob. I saw a video earlier today, champion. There's no more genres. It's a great thing. Genres have been broken down. So we're going to take a look at Missouri Breaks, the Ballad of Missouri Bill, a country rock Western movie thing being made. I should just play the gosh darn trailer and just stop wasting our time. Yeah, you want to see this. This is what you want to see. Idaho territory. Got like a bell, like it's for whom the bell tolls here. Oh, well, we go. We got the dogs freaking out down there again. They're hearing the cattle. I guess they're hearing the cattle. I don't know how they're hearing the cattle, but they're hearing it. Hey, is that a reference to the battles for Chattanooga, November '63? You can learn more about that on my other channel, Readout Productions. Fun time. Looks like we're getting a revenge story, a revenge western. Simple, brutal, straight to the point. Johnny gonna go get his gun. All right, the Ballad of Missouri Bill. And for the record, this is not related to another Missouri Breaks movie. It's just merely called Missouri Breaks because of the band that's made the music. So, looking forward to this. I am going to be honest, it's going to be, in terms of the visuals, the cinematography, it's a little bit dicey. You could tell it's running on a small budget, but man, the music is so good, it makes up for it. So I'm looking forward for a 90-minute, basically Western music video. I'm all for it. So I'm super stoked to see this come out. Yeah, I don't think I have much more to say until I'm waiting for the premiere. I'm ready. Bring on Missouri Bill. Bring on Western awesomeness. All right, we got one final project to look at tonight. Presumably this too is coming out in the summer. There's been no release date yet, but this gentleman's been teasing it all spring, and he dropped the trailer just a week ago. It is Attaché Films' finale to his series Checkmate Lincolnites. Let's check it out. You're wrong! I'm right about the way to say you're wrong. If you haven't followed the series, you're in for some serious shit. Got Witchfinder generals fighting Yahtzees. We got an army of Confederate dead rising. Confederate dead, you heard what I said. Yeah.
Favorite thing, a full frontal infantry attack.
He loves them frontal assaults. I see no issue with these frontal attacks. It all comes to an end. The 10th and final episode of Checkmate Lincolnites. Woo! Woo! Look, this is a show made for young history buffs who are engrossed with the interwebs like yours truly. If you want to understand how my brain works and my co-host brain works, watch the Checkmate Lincolnite series. If you don't know what it is, it's Attaché Films. Essentially started as a shitpost, essentially, where he was reacting to negative comments on his Civil War videos, telling him how he was all wrong. And it was really high-end, the show will rise again stuff. And he started creating a caricature known as Johnny Reb to read all of these bad comments. Well, over time, it gained a life of its own. And then he started portraying another caricature of himself, which was Billy Yank. And these two have just been going at it for years in these videos. It's one of the things like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make this little gag video just for the fun of it. And it never fails. It's the gag videos. It's the ones that you least expect. those are the ones that take off. So he's promised he was only going to do 10 installments of Checkmate Lincolnites, and he promised the last one was going to be a big one. And yeah, I figure it was going to be like, okay, it'll be probably like an hour-long video, but we're getting like episode 8 and 9. I'm like, man, we're hitting the hour mark already. What is he going to do for episode 10? Oh, I'm just basically going to do Army of Darkness, but for the American Civil War. But I'm going to throw the Witchfinder General in there as well, just for the laughs of it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Highly looking forward to the end of Checkmate Lincolnites. And well, folks, that's what I got to talk about. Coming out in theaters or to a TubeU near you soon. All sorts of parts that'll be in our shared popular culture this summer. Yeah, it's, man, not a lot really going on. At least not in my personal opinion. There's a lot of movies coming out. There's always a lot of movies. A lot of them are still remakes, sequels, trying to resurrect 30-year-old properties because nostalgia bait, but you've used up so much nostalgia bait and you used it in the worst way possible. You've burned so much of your audience for failures like Indiana Jones 5, the Star Wars sequels, especially Rise of Skywalker. Oh God, that was a thing that happened. All of the MCU BS in Phase 4 that went down. Their times, mainstream media's time's ticking. Also, just notice all the properties talked about were absorbed by Disney, which means Disney's time in particular is ticking. It's coming down. Can't wait for that day where the mouse comes to its knees. But in any case, there's a lot of independent projects you can support, like Missouri Breaks, The Ballad of Missouri Bill. We got The Glass Workers coming out too. Looking forward to that in the vein of classic Studio Ghibli. And especially I want to mention, we got the end of Checkmate Lincolnite. Here we go. Let's go. Let's see Robert E. You know what? If Robert E. Lee is going to do his classic maneuver of a frontal assault, then we need Grant's classic maneuver of unconditional surrender. Not just from the army of the Confederate dead, but from the bleeding horde that is mainstream media. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button down below. Be sure to subscribe here to the Food Bar Digital Lounge. I had to get used to saying that. I'm so used to showing my main channel. And we will see you next time, whenever that'll be.